Hello, students. Let us continue from where we left off. Students of English Literature, BA Part 2, we are looking at the play Macbeth by William Shakespeare, and we last left off at the end of Act 4, Scene 1, where Macbeth had a meeting with the three witches. And at the end of the scene, he was informed that Macbeth had escaped and he had gone to London. And Macbeth resolves to kill every single member of Macbeth's family to ensure that nobody becomes king after him. The change of scene, we are outside the castle of Macbeth at 5. Enter Lady Macbeth, her son, and Ross. Lady Macbeth speaks. What had he done to make him fly the land? That is, what did he do that made him flee this land? Flee means run away from this country. So Ross is trying to calm her down. You must have patience, ma'am. You have to be patient, ma'am. Now remember that Macbeth did not have time to inform his wife and family that he was leaving. He had to leave in a hurry, or he would have been killed before he left the boundaries, the territory of Scotland. And his wife cannot understand how her husband could leave her like this and just go away. So Lady Macbeth says he had none. That is, Macbeth had no patience. His flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors. That is, he was crazy to run away. Even if you are not a traitor, traitor is one who betrays his own country. So even if you are not a traitor, you are going to look like one if you run away like this. So Ross defends Macbeth and he says, you know not whether it was his wisdom or his fear. You don't know whether it was his wisdom that made him run away or it was fear that made him leave like this. And Lady Macbeth scoffs and she says, wisdom? To leave his wife, to leave his babes, his mansion and his titles in a place from whence he himself does fly? Says, how could it be wisdom to leave his wife, his children, babes means his young children, and his wife, a defenseless woman, his house and his titles, in a place which is so unsafe that he himself flees it and he leaves us behind? How can that be a wise thing to do? And his titles means, if you remember, he is the Thane of 5. He loves us not. Now she is sure that he does not love us. He wants the natural touch. Wants means he lacks. He lacks the natural instinct to protect his family. The instinct of a man, a husband, a father to protect his family is missing in Macbeth. Now before I go further, please mark these words for reference, right from wisdom till the end of the dialogue of Lady Macbeth. Continuing, oh the poor wren, the most diminutive of birds will flight. Now the wren is a very small bird. Diminutive means fragile and tiny. Very small and tiny bird will flight her young ones in her nest, will fight. That is, even the fragile wren, the smallest of birds, will fight against the owl, will fight her young ones in her nest to protect her young ones against the owl. The owl is a much larger bird as compared to the wren, but even then, the wren is prepared to fight against the owl. All is the fear and nothing is the love. His running away has everything to do with fear and nothing to do with love. He does not love us, he is only afraid for himself. As little is the wisdom where the flight so runs against all reason. And since it is so unreasonable, against all reason means since it is so unreasonable for him to run away, it has nothing to do with wisdom either. So actually it was fear for his own safety that made him leave his family unprotected and at the mercy of Macbeth, just like that. Now Ross, you can almost see him consoling Lady Macbeth, and he says, "My dearest cause, my dearest cousin, I pray you school yourself." School yourself means control yourself. Pull yourself together. But for your husband, as far as your husband is concerned, he is noble, wise and judicious. Judicious means sensible. He is noble, he is wise and he is very sensible and best knows the fits of the season, and he best understands what the time requires. What is the requirement of time, the fit of the season? I dare not speak much further. It is not safe for me to speak any more than this. But cruel are the times when we are traitors. But times are bad when people get denounced as traitors and do not know ourselves. And we don't even know why we are traitors. When you are forced to behave like this, that you are labeled as a traitor. When we hold rumor from what we fear. Hold rumor means when we believe in rumors. That is, in times like this, we believe frightening rumors from what we fear, but we don't know what we are afraid of, yet know not what we fear. That is, the reason of our fear is unknown. But float upon a wild and violent sea, each way and none. But it is like being tossed around on the ocean in every direction. And the violent sea, the sea of doubt and fear, when we don't know what is happening around us, so we are tossed around on the ocean of doubt and fear in every direction, each way and none. And finally getting nowhere. That is, we are tossed in different directions and we are not reaching anywhere. This is what the time has become. I take my leave of you. I say goodbye to you now. Shall not be long, but I will be here again. It won't be long before I am back. He's assuring her. He's rather reassuring her. Things at the worst will cease. Cease means stop. When things are at their worst, they have to stop, or else climb upward, or else improve to the way things were before. That is, you can only go so high up a peak. Ultimately, you have to go down to what they were before. My pretty cousin, blessing upon you. This he says to the young son of Macbeth. Says, my young cousin, I put my blessing upon you. And Lady Macbeth, full of sadness, fathered he is, and yet he is fatherless. This is the worst that can happen. He has a father, and yet he is without a father, because it is the duty, it is the responsibility of a father to protect his young children. Now, when Lady Macbeth says this, it brings tears to Ross's eyes, and he says, I am so much a fool should I stay longer? That is, I have to go. If I stay longer, I will embarrass you. It would be my disgrace and your discomfort. I will embarrass you and disgrace myself by crying. So I'll take my leave at once. I'm leaving now. And he exits. Lady Macbeth talking to her son. Sirrah, your father is dead. Sirrah means young man. Your father is dead. What will you do now? What are you going to do now? How will you live? How are you going to survive? How are you going to live? Now the son, very innocently, he says, as birds do, mother. I will live the way birds do, mother. So his mother says, what? With worms and flies? That is, are you going to start eating worms and flies? That is how you are going to live? So the son answers, with what I get, I mean, and so do they. I mean, I will live on whatever I get, just like the birds do. Lady Macbeth, you can almost see her ruffling his hair. Poor bird, thou dost never fear the net nor lime, the pitfall nor the gin. You would be a pitiful bird. Why? Because you wouldn't know enough to be afraid of traps. Now net, आप जानते हैं चिड़िया को पकड़ने के लिए जाल बिछाया जाता है. Nor lime. In olden days, a sheet of paper would be placed on the ground under the tree, and this paper would be a layer of lime. Lime is chuna. It would be applied on that sheet of paper, and some grains would be scattered on that sheet, and the birds would come down to eat the grain and their legs would be stuck in the lime. The pitfall nor the gin. Now these are all traps to trap the birds. So you are so young and innocent, you wouldn't know enough to be afraid of the traps. So the son says, why should I, mother? Poor birds, they are not set for. Why should I be afraid of them, mother? If I am a pitiful bird like you say, then hunters won't want me. Hunters, they avoid taking very small birds because those birds will not bring them any money. So if I am so small, then the hunters will not harm me, they will not want me. My father is not dead for all your saying. That is, no matter what you say, my father is not dead. Now you can hear the love, the trust, the faith that this small boy has in his father. And these feelings are unshakable in the young son of Macbeth. But Lady Macbeth, yes, he is dead. How wilt thou do for the father? Yes, he is dead. What are you going to do for a father now? So the son asks, nay, how will you do for a husband? No, you tell me. Maybe you should ask, what will you do for a husband? So Lady Macbeth says, why? I can buy me 20 at any market. Oh, I can buy 20 husbands at any market. Then I will buy them to sell again. If so, you would be buying them to sell them again. You will sell them again. Why? Because when my real father comes, you will have to get rid of those other husbands. Macbeth, thou speakest with all thy wit. That is, you talk like a child, and yet in faith with wit enough for thee. You talk like a child, but you are a very smart child anyway. So the son asks, was my father a traitor, mother? See, the boy has been listening to the conversation between Ross and his mother. So he is now asking his mother, was my father a traitor, mother? In other words, did my father betray the country, mother? Lady Macbeth, aye, that he was. She says this with sadness. She's very hurt and she's very, very unhappy. son. What is a traitor? What is the meaning of traitor? Who is a traitor? Why? One that swears and lies. Someone who makes a promise and breaks it. And be all traitors that do so? And is everyone who swears and lies, is every one of them a traitor? Everyone that does so is a traitor and must be hanged. Must be hanged, must be put to death. Everyone who does this is a traitor, who breaks his promise, he lies, and he should be punished by hanging. And must they all be hanged that swear and lie? And should everyone who makes promises and breaks them, should they all be hanged? So she answers, everyone. And then the son asks, and must they all be hanged that swear and lie? And should everyone who makes promises and breaks them, should they all be hanged? Everyone. He then asks, who must hang them? Who should hang them? And Lady MACBETH says, why? The honest men. The honest man has to hang those who lie. Then the liars and swearers are fools, for there are liars and swearers enough to beat the honest men and hang up them. That is, then the liars are fools, for there are enough liars in the world to beat up the honest men and hang them. In other words, there are more liars, they are more in number, and so they can easily beat up the honest men. They are fools to let the honest men beat them instead. Now, God help thee, poor monkey, but how wilt thou do for a father? Lady MACBETH cannot help laughing. So heaven help you for saying that, boy. But then she becomes sad again. But what will you do without a father? And he answers, if he were dead, you would weep for him. If he was really dead, you would be crying for my father. If you would not, it were a good sign that I should quickly have a new father. And if you are not weeping, then it's a good sign that soon I will have a new father. Lady MACBETH, poor prattler, how thou talkest. That is, poor boy, silly babbler, how you talk. Just then enter a messenger. The messenger says, bless you, fair dame, I am not to you known, though in your state of honor I am perfect. That is, bless you, fair lady, I am not to you known, that is, you don't know me, though in your state of honor, that is, your position of importance, I am perfect. That is, I am perfectly aware. I know who you are. I know your position. I know in what position you are, that you are Lady MACBETH. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. That is, I am afraid something dangerous is coming towards you. If you will take a homely man's advice, homely man means if you will take a simple man's advice, be not found here. Be not found here means leave this place, run away from here to safety. Hence with your little ones, go away and take your children with you. To fright you thus, methinks I am too savage. Now, even as he speaks, he sees Lady MACBETH's face becoming white with fear. Her eyes widen maybe, and perhaps she begins to shiver. So he says, to frighten you thus, methinks I am too savage. To frighten you in this way, I feel bad for scaring you like this. To do worse to you were fell cruelty, but it would be much worse for me to let you come to harm. Were fell cruelty, which is too nigh your person. That is, danger is very close to you, and harm is getting close. Heaven preserve you. I dare abide no longer. I dare not stay here any longer. And he leaves. Actually, this man came to warn Lady Macbeth of the impending threat to her life. Now, poor Lady Macbeth, you can imagine her wringing her hands and looking here and there. Whither should I fly? This is her plight. Where should I go? I have done no harm. I have not done anything wrong. But I remember now, I am in this earthly world where to do harm is often laudable, to do good sometime accounted dangerous folly. She means to say, but I have to remember that I am here on this earth. That I am here on this earth where doing evil is often praised. To do harm means evil, is often laudable. Laudable means praised. And to do good sometimes accounted. Accounted means considered dangerous folly. Folly or foolishness. It is considered foolishness. It is a dangerous mistake. A stupid and dangerous mistake. Why then, alas, do I put up with that womanly defense? So then why should I offer this womanly defense that I am innocent, to say that I have done no harm? Even as Lady Macbeth says, so then why should I offer this womanish defense that I am innocent? Even as she says this, enter murderers. What are these faces? That is, who are these men? First murderer, where is your husband? Macbeth, I hope in no place so unsanctified where such as thou mayst find him. That is, in other words, I hope he is not anywhere so disreputable, such an unholy place. Unsanctified means unholy, that thugs like you can find him. Where such as thou means men like you, thugs like you may find him. See, even now, although she is sad and she is heartbroken because her husband has left her, she is still protecting him. So the first murderer says, he is a traitor. Now, as soon as he says this, the son jumps to the defense. Thou liest, thou shag-haired villain. You are lying, you long and shaggy-haired villain. First murderer, what? You egg? That is, what's that? You runt? And he stabs him. Young fry of treachery. Fry means son. You young son of a traitor, and he is stabbed. And the boy, he has killed me, mother. Run away, I pray you. He has killed me, mother. Run away, save yourself. He dies. Exit Lady Macbeth, crying murder, followed by the murderers. Now we can safely assume that Lady Macbeth is also caught up and she is also killed. With this, we end Act 4, Scene 2, and we will continue in the next session. Thank you.